This is ASS Breaking News.
Allah Akbar! Allah Akbar!
Good evening. I'm Brock Jorgensen from ASS News headquarters in your mom's butthole. Ahmed Al-Aslikin is currently on assignment, even though he doesn't actually work for ASS News, because I butchered his name. His name is actually Asman bin Laken. And as I await my death penalty for butchering his name, as I'll be stoned to death, we actually have an ASS News exclusive for you tonight. After the defamation case of Johnny Depp, who won in the first ever argument for a man over a woman, over Amber Heard, we were actually encouraged to find out more about this episode that happened in their bedroom. So joining us this evening is Johnny Depp's bed sheets. Good evening, sir or ma'am.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Do you have a name?
Well, now it's Shitface.
What's that in
That's
your?
what they call me in the laundry room now.
So, wait. All right. So, tell us your side of the story. Who was it that actually laid a shit on top of you?
So that was Amber Heard. She's the one who did it. She's lying. It was not the dog. I remember it because she did it right on my face.
Why would Amber Heard do this?
You guys have to understand that when a woman wants to shit on a bed, it's time for us to take their rights away. She did.
So you're telling me that Amber Heard shat on you and not gay Ansel Siraj Hashmi. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What do you think, based on the consistency of the fecal matter, that Amber Heard, what do you think she had in her diet to produce such a product?
I've actually preserved some of it right now, and honestly, it tastes a lot like cocaine, dog piss, and celery.
Very interesting.
But mainly cocaine.
So are you getting secondhand high off of this excrement?
Absolutely. The thing that Johnny Depp is sitting on and Amber Heard is a gold mine. They should really wrap this up and sell it and deal it like a drug. I'm high as
What
fuck
about
right
yourself? Do you think that you will ever be laid on top of a bed ever again?
No, I think those days are like over for me. She ruined my career.
Will you seek damages?
Of course. I mean, my reputation as clean sheet is done. I am no longer clean sheet. I am brown stained. I am brown stained for the rest of my life. So either they throw me away or I forever live this life of shame.
We're very sorry to hear this.
They don't understand. They don't get it. When a woman shits on you and stains you for life, you can't work again. Nobody wants to hire you. Who wants to lay their face next to a shit stain other than Jay?
For the viewers at home who have a difficult time imagining any woman, let alone Amber Heard, taking a giant dump, specifically on a bed, because women taking dumps is disgusting, and the idea that such a thing is possible absolutely disgusts me. If there was a potential, like if you were to paint a picture to the viewers at home about like where on the like anatomically, like if say you were a person, where exactly was the shit taken and smeared on you? Like was it the head of the sheet? Was it like the chest or possibly the mouth or nose?
All through here on my face. All through here on my face. It was.
So she didn't even consider the possibility that maybe if it were on the chest, it might be acceptable. Is that correct?
Yeah, some people have those kinks, and I can't tell you how many times she shat on Johnny Depp's chest the way that he liked it. But this time, it was not one of those. It was not one of those times because Johnny Depp always took care of me. He always made sure that her shit landed square on his chest, nowhere else. Always.
Are you sure that it wasn't a misunderstanding? Like it was meant for, say, his chest, and he just happened to like sneak out in time, and it just landed on your face instead?
No, that wasn't the case because she was murmuring to herself that she cannot wait to shit on this bed, blame it on the dog, and make sure it stinks up the whole house. And she wanted to blame it on Candace.
Candace who?
We are calling on them to do the right thing, to be patriots here, and not to use the war as an excuse or as a reason to not put out a production, to not do the capacity that is needed out there, so that the prices can come down.
Fraud, absolute fraud. This election was over, and then they did dumps. They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's going on, Habibis? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Welcome to another episode of Habibi Power Hour. Jay, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful.
Wow, so good to see you with no shit on your face or chest.
Unfortunately. I am planning to get some shit on my face later on today.
I mean, this is the risk you take when you eat as much ass as you do. Habibis, as always, if you want to hit that like and subscribe button to support us, we surely appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at Siraj Hashmi Jay. You can find it at Asslickin. Again, that is not a misprint. That is really his Twitter handle. I think I
absolutely
did I get it right in there?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it's a play. It's a play on ass and licking.
Would have never guessed, Jay. Would have never guessed. And as always, you can follow. There is that Twitter handle, and might I add a wonderful Twitter avi and banner.
For Pride Month, like everyone else, we need to make sure that we are showing our support.
Absolutely. And one other thing, and if you could go back to his Twitter, Spencer Sachs, our producer, by the way, you could follow him on Twitter at @SSachs, or is it Spencer_Sachs? Spencer_Sachs. Spencer, get in here, say hello.
There it is. At
hey,
Spencer.
All right.
Yeah, Spencer has been gone for a while. That's because he was fired. And
I love the wallpaper behind him. It looks like some grandmother, like Jewish grandmother's house. It's a Jewish grandmother right over there.
He's definitely at grandma's tonight. So I just want to, Jay, I want to talk about your Twitter bio just for a second. Can we just zoom in on that real quick?
What
does that say?
My pronouns are he, not him, because I could never be him.
And what is that? What is that link, Spencer? Can you show us? Is that Osama bin Laden?
Yes. Surrounded by anime posters in an anime room, filled room. You know, this is how he enjoyed to unwind. This was him unwinding right here. Look how innocent he looks with anime girls behind him.
He's the most innocent of. I mean, who with a face like that, he has the face that no jury can convict.
Right, absolutely. And just to be clear to everybody who is like, oh, the anime girls behind him are like 12 or 14. No, they're in their 40s. Everyone is anime girls. Some of them are even 2,400 years old, okay? None of them are 13. None of them are 12. Get your head out of your asses.
Yeah, you know, really, you got to get your mind out of the gutter here, okay? It's not healthy. Not healthy. So,
not at all.
So obviously, Jay, this has been hell of a week. We started doing our list streams on local. So if you actually want to catch some of our more exclusive content, go ahead, check out our locals community. We actually extended the deadline on using the 1 month promo. When you type in Jen Rubin 69, you get 1 month free, so you can check out all of our exclusive content. We did a local stream Tuesday night. That's last night. Doing a top 20. We hadn't done the list in 3 weeks, Jay. And
I know.
I think it went pretty well.
No, I think so too. I mean, there was a lot of times that we went into serious and honest discussions about whether or not people in wheelchairs should be considered human or not, and really went down the list and checked off all the craziness that happened these last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's honestly of all the things that that you really could take away from that episode is that our list turned Ben Morrissey not a real human being. Obviously doesn't deserve rights, and the fact that his legs are wheels just means that he needs to be towed and brought to a junkyard.
That's real justice over there. And what's really funny too is that he was supposed to watch it live and take clips. What was he doing instead? Pretending to fish. How the fuck did he get out there on a wheelchair? Like, this is a lie. These things are lies. He's a liar.
Is his leg suddenly a rotor that goes in the water? What's going on here?
God damn it.
Makes no sense.
None.
Anyways, Habibis, let's get into some of the news this week. I mean, there's kicking off with obviously the biggest story of the week. Is the fact that I haven't shat my pants enough times to get the Celtics to an NBA championship, at least not yet. So stay tuned for that. We'll probably have to shit my pants tomorrow because every day I shit my pants, the Boston Celtics win a playoff game. So the very first story this week, Jay, is the fact that now we're looking at the types of gun control legislation and laws we haven't seen in quite some time. Probably more infringing, more obtuse, more intrusive, I should say, or infringing, I should say. I don't even know what the right word is at this point, Jay, because it just seems like it's just overbearing. And at this point, the GOP is willingly playing along with it. And for what reason? They have basically in the fallout of the Uvalde massacre in Texas, where obviously an immense tragedy. Yeah, we've talked about it at length on this show. And one of the things that we've seen is a number of GOP senators who, by the way, are not up for re-election in 2022 or are retiring, are joining with the Democrats on this now bipartisan gun legislation, which highlights, amongst many provisions, these red flag laws. Now, Jay, for you, who is a commie who lives in California, why do you support this bill?
Well, first of all, because of the bullying that I'm experiencing right now over here, I will make sure that I can call the government and tell them that Siraj Hashmi is a bully and should be on a red flag.
Well, if you're going with the Scott Adams approach, then you could literally kill me.
Absolutely. I mean, that tweet was absolutely fucking insane. We listed it last night where Scott Adams was talking about, he took it a step too far too, where he was like, we should legalize killing your bully. Not being literal, just a thought experiment.
And he was saying he's like, this is just a thought experiment, not a recommendation. Like, okay, Scott.
Yeah, right. You're not being fucking insane. But back to here, like these red flag laws need to be worked out extremely fucking hard, because if you give anything to the government where they can list shit, where they can put people on no-fly zones and listing people and doing all of these different fucking things, they're not going to give that power away. They won't give it back. That's not how this works. They'll take it, they'll run with it, and they'll run a mile with it. And they'll infringe all up in your ass.
And honestly, that's the worst type of infringing, is infringing on specifically your ass. A government infringing on your ass. The only thing that should be infringing on your ass is Jay's tongue, and the ass that it's infringing on is obviously your mom's.
Absolutely.
But considering that these red flag laws, I mean, they're being very open about it, Jay. It's not even like they're hiding it. So the Washington Post did an explainer about like, what is a red flag law? And the way that they explain it says, red flag laws allow police, family members, or even doctors to petition a court to take away someone's firearms for up to a year if they feel that person is a threat to themselves or others. 19 states in the District of Columbia, including 2 Republican-controlled states, Florida and Indiana, have some form of this law on the books. I was actually very surprised to hear about this one, that it's actually exists in Florida, considering that I'm now a Florida man.
Right.
But obviously, this is one of those things where I don't care who you are. Red flag laws sets a precedent to circumvent due process and take your own property away from you without being convicted of a crime. Am I getting that right? Where's our resident attorneys in the chat? I know that Leb Damien probably has something to say about it.
Absolutely. He would, especially if we're talking about law. I mean, he just has to put the mayo down just long enough to actually comment on it. But I think, I honestly do think that you're right. And we see these type of laws affecting people's lives in the worst type of way, like Title 45 in colleges and stuff? Or is it what's the title? I forget what the title is.
Title 9?
No, not Title 9. Hold on.
What are you talking about?
It's in college.
It's usually called Title 9.
Is it Title 9?
It might be.
I'm not sure, because it's the one that where Title 9. Sorry, the sex discrimination whatever
Jesus
act.
Christ, Jay.
I apologize. I don't know. I don't know my ass from my dick sometimes.
This is true. Damien Toll says, my legal opinion is that I think all of you should be red flagged. Very Islamophobic of you, and very liberal of you.
Very white of him too. Very
President Mitch, actually, it should be called Title 69. He's
because that's nice. That's a very nice title. But I mean, the accusation that is thrown onto these people is taken seriously, and then their life is absolutely fucking ruined. They have to go through courts, and not just normal courts. They go through the court, to try and clear their name from false accusations. And it's not even through legal courts. It's through the courts, through the fucking universities and shit. It's all what's the term you Americans use? Is it like kangaroo court? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I
is that right? Is that the saying? Kangaroo king.
It sounds like an Aussie saying, honestly.
So it's not a kangaroo court. What's the saying?
I believe it's kangaroo. I think it's kangaroo.
Kangaroo. Okay, I think it's kangaroo court. So we're going to start seeing a lot of that kind of stuff prop up.
Someone says Star Chamber.
with these red
Smart
flag
change.
laws. So, for instance, I will say that you're a bully and also you're mentally unwell, which is both true, and you're a danger to yourself. So they will put you on a red flag for a whole year and ban you from purchasing any firearms, from purchasing any property, from using the property you have, and you have to go and jump through hoops to clear your name. I don't have to prove or provide any evidence. I have to just say, this is what happened. Screenshot some of your fucking texts where you tell me to go kill myself, and then send it to the courts.
Wait, I never told you to go kill yourself, Jay.
Yes, you
At
did.
least not yet.
No, you did. You have.
Okay, then
Multiple
maybe
times.
I did.
Multiple.
I only told you to kill yourself with my penis in your face. Anyways, here are the 10 Republican senators who are now backing on this.
Backing on or backing out?
Backing up. How is it? How's it said, Jay? Is it they're backing? They're backing it.
They're backing it. Well, I know John Cornyn had he changed his tune a little bit.
You think he changed his tune? All right. Well, this article is like 2 days old. So, but initially, Texas Senator John Cornyn, obviously he has an A+ rating from the NRA back in this particular bill. We got Senator Thom Tillis from North Carolina. Senator Roy Blunt, who he's retiring for one, to just smoke endless amounts of weed. Senator Rob Portman, who I think was reelected not too long ago, I think in 2018, and 6-year terms. Senator Richard Burr, who's retiring at the end of this term. Mitt Romney, who we're not surprised about, giant lib.
Not fucking surprised whatsoever.
Bill Cassidy, another big lib. Susan Collins from Maine, who we're not surprised about. Lindsey Graham is a surprising one. Lindsey Graham. But again, we shouldn't be surprised. He's a neocon lib. Who else we were really going to think of? Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania. Another lib there. And the big one too.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think there's going to be a few of these guys who are going to back out. I really do. I think there's going to be a few of them that are going to back out. They're going to
not the ones retiring. The ones who are retiring. The ones who are retiring do not give a shit.
They don't care. Mitt Romney, of course, he's a fucking rhino. He's not going to care. He's going to really go in on it as well. But there are certain things that we do need to hit on as a society. There are a few things that I think we can do better on when it comes to these issues. One thing is young men's mental health. We do not, in this country, we do not put any emphasis or any care on these issues whatsoever. We brush them off, we mock it, and we do not include it in this inclusive society to actually see it as something that we could help, that we could do better on. And that's one aspect I think we should work on harder. Now, does that mean that people need to be put on red flag laws or red flag scenarios or whatever? No, it just means that we need to be more aware of the signs that we see from these people, because the FBI saw the signs on this guy. The police saw the signs on this guy. The school, his high school, saw the signs on this guy. His parents saw the signs on this guy. Like, all of these things saw the signs of this. And instead of reaching out a hand saying, hey, buddy, do you need to talk? Hey, let's go over this. Hey, if you feel this way, I think it's good to share or come out or whatever and talk about it. We don't do that. We shut it out. We call them names. We call them sissies. We call them whatever, or we go over into the other way and we call them racists and we call them Nazis, and we just dismiss it altogether. All of it. So this red flag laws type of stuff is a very lazy way to tackle the main issue that's at hand.
So, all right. So, oh God. What are you doing, Spencer? No, go back to that. Let's read it. Let's read it for the people who are, say, listening to this after the fact. Spencer literally pulls up a tweet from the beginning of 2021 in January when they announced that new Jets head coach Robert Saleh is now the first Muslim American head coach in NFL history, in which I then quote tweeted saying, "Muslims and planes unite once again in New York." So
that's a red flag tweet right there. I mean, when we are implementing these red flags, when you see tweets like this, fucking red flag it. Red flag the shit out of it.
So that being said, are red flag laws constitutional? Ultimately, they're not. And this is something that will probably get passed and signed into law and then get challenged in the courts and then get struck down by the Supreme Court, because again, they have basically already ruled on something like this. I think it was I want to say 2021, specifically on the issue of due process, and it was a unanimous ruling. It was a 9-0 unanimous ruling, striking down basically the seizure of property without due process. That
the
is
Republican-packed courts. God damn it.
Republican-packed court. It is one of those things.
If Jay was alive during that time, she would be the one.
It was one of those things where you look at it and you think to yourself, they're literally going to try to ram this through, and they do not give a shit who is impacted by this, specifically the law-abiding gun owners. Mind you, it's quite a slap in the face to anyone who has ever advocated for the Second Amendment to basically get into office, and as soon as they get there, they just like turn around and stab them in the back.
Oh yeah.
One thing that's just so weird is that John Cornyn is basically an older Beto O'Rourke. Is he not?
John Cornyn? I mean,
John Cornyn.
I don't know if he's like really like to that extent of a Beto. Excuse me.
I mean, he's not as soy.
I think he is. He wants to be. He's a right. He's like slowly, almost
He's
like
definitely a rhino.
to the extent of like a Mitt Romney and stuff. But he backtracks from being all the way up there from time to time. So I think he's more of a rhino, and I think he's not really the level of Beto. And I think a lot of these people who are jumping onto these discussions are doing so mainly to look good in the media type thing, because now they can have the backing thing saying, like, when people are saying you're doing nothing, you are okay with kids being killed. They're like, no, we're actually, at the table and stuff. That's why, like, I do not think any of this stuff is really going to go through. And especially because there's a lot of issues with it, and anything that is just going to coat the stuff over, like putting people on red flags type of shit, it's not going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I think people are going to abuse it. And like, when have we ever heard of the American government abusing its power on its citizens?
I've never heard of such a thing, Jay. That's impossible. Okay.
Impossible. I can trust them wholeheartedly with my tax dollars and my freedoms. Yes, sir. Fuck you.
So here's the thing. They're going to, this is how it's going to go down. This is not going to go there. All right. There are mainly two ways this could possibly go down, Jay. One is if they are going to enforce this law, say, seeing as how it probably will pass, and it gets implemented, assuming that like the Supreme Court doesn't strike it down. If they implement such a law, there's either two ways they could go about it. one, they go after law-abiding gun owners and specifically find any which way they could possibly take their guns away. Even if it's based on, a flimsy accusation. And don't get me wrong, they're going to be legitimate, they're going to be people who legitimately have done some shit. They have a rap sheet, they've been convicted, or they're in the process of going through a criminal proceedings. But there are also going to be tons of people who are going to fly under the radar. They will be in possession of an illegal firearm. They'll never face any legal proceedings or criminal proceedings out of it. And they're going to continue possibly killing people indiscriminately, whether it be because of drug or human trafficking, because of gang violence, random violence, you name it. And that, or let's be honest, there are going to be tons of people who will probably use that gun on themselves, because at least a third of all gun deaths are from suicide.
Right. I mean, when you really account for like you're saying with suicide with gun deaths, I mean, it skyrockets, rockets, and it really distorts this gun violence narrative. When it's like people died who are killed by the gun, a lot of that is, like you were saying, suicide, and that does skew the numbers. And
it does.
I think I could be wrong. We're going to have to probably Google this, but I think we're actually at a lower suicide rate per capita than Japan. And Japan bans guns.
Than Japan. That'd be interesting. I hope Spencer can fact check us on this, because I have no idea. I can't. I just don't know. That is also a tall task to ask Spencer. If he fails, obviously he's going to be fired.
Always. And what's it called? Adam Ingrid from Rumble, he says 100% of suicides end in death. That is absolutely correct.
That's the only time I'll laugh at something like that.
Oh man, it's really sad. So between the ages of 15 and 34, we are ranked higher. But as you go older, look at the skew on here. Between Japan and the United States. So from 35 to 75, Japan absolutely fucking takes it. But look at 15 to 34. That's the most sad. That is really sad. That's the sad part. 15 to 34, and it goes again to the point that I was saying. And 99% of this is men. Are men. So 15 to 30. That's young men. That is young men taking their lives, and we are doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it. We're sugarcoating it. We are trying to do something lazy about it by doing red flag laws and shit. But as you can see on the other per capita stuff, they have strict gun laws. They have very strict gun laws, and you still see the suicide rate of the adult men.
Did that stat sheet, did it sort of show, did it indicate whether all those suicides were from guns?
No, it didn't. But Japan has a higher suicide rate on 35 and above, and they have no gun laws. They have, they have strict gun laws.
Got it.
That's where you see it here. So from
regardless of whether, above, yeah. Well, obviously there's more than one way to try to kill yourself, but seeing as how that's obviously a very dark topic, we don't want to really delve into even further. We'll wait and see what happens, because
suicide. I never heard of her.
Suicide. Let's go. No, it's for one, I feel like every single time the issue of gun control comes up, I always think to myself, all right, if they were to propose a bill here, what is the gray area where you can basically address the actual shooting that was the impetus for talking about gun control, and the like what's the and that other side where you're not infringing on, law-abiding citizens who own guns and advocate for the Second Amendment? What's that middle ground? And if the bill doesn't actually address anything to do with the actual shooting, like if say, for example, this particular Uvalde shooter didn't, basically Jay, am I wrong? Am I wrong about like how the Uvalde shooter, while he may have told people that he was going to do some shit, he didn't really have like a record or anything like that? Right.
Correct. I think he didn't have any record. I think there are just people who are concerned about him as he went through the steps and getting a firearm. But he did not break any laws. He did not have a rap sheet. He did not beat his grandmother or have a domestic abuse sheet against him.
So my question is, what would a red flag law do to prevent the Uvalde shooting? Would it actually do anything?
That's a good question, especially because there was
idea.
nobody reported the text messages. Nobody, went to anybody.
Like even if they did, they probably have a little bit more of an argument. But like, the fact that nobody even said, hey, called the police and said, hey, I think this guy's going to do something bad, really bad, and the police does nothing, then someone would be like, all right, maybe a red flag law would have actually helped here. And like law enforcement is just incompetent. We know that law enforcement is incompetent in general, but specifically in Uvalde, Texas, where we saw incompetence beyond our belief. Maddie Heinrichsen says red flag laws only work if a family member or a friend reports that person. Red flag laws wouldn't have stopped the shooter in Buffalo or in Texas. Mind you, the shooter in Buffalo who killed 10 people, specifically targeting a black supermarket, was charged with hate crimes as of this week by the DOJ. There's just something weird about what's going on. And I don't have a tinfoil hat on me, and maybe this doesn't require a tinfoil hat, Jay. But
just in case, for legal purposes,
just in case, we never know. This obviously just just seems like a power grab. It's not so much a gun grabbing, even though gun grabbing does lead to a power grab, and the two are basically like synonymous with each other.
They are.
This is basically a way to, if you have guns in the hands of only the state and bad guys, what are you left with, right? You have no means of defending yourself. You have no means of protecting your home, your family, what have you, possibly being able to intervene in a really dicey situation. There are basically no acts of recourse. You have to be fully reliant on the state in order for literally anything to be resolved or any justice to be done. I think a lot of people recognize, especially in parts of America that might be a little bit more scarce, I should say. Like, let's just talk about like, rural. If something happens,
not only rural,
and like away from
inner cities.
Yeah, I mean, like inner cities and stuff like that. Like obviously, like there's
there's
only so much time. There's only so much time you have to react to a situation, and boom, like that's it. Like you can't rely on the police to like save you. In fact, in many cases, we've all seen how the police responds to even just law-abiding gun owners. I mean, you have Philando Castile in Minnesota.
Or fucking parents scared for their children. Like that's
not even law-abiding gun owners. You have like Tamir Rice in Cleveland, Ohio, who didn't even have he had a toy gun. He was shot killed. So like, do you really trust the state to be sort of like the arbiter on what they believe to be safe and not? In fact, I think I saw a tweet earlier from, I think what's his name, Spike Cohen in particular. This is one of the most wild things that I actually never heard of until maybe here it is. I'm gonna share it with you because this is absolutely jarring. So Spike Cohen, who is, I don't know, let's be real, I don't know much about him, but it's okay. So this, he tweets out how a year ago today, a man named John Hurley was shopping in Arvada, Colorado, when someone started shooting. So Johnny went to the direction of the gunfire and shot the shooter, and then the Arvada police killed him. This is literally the first time I'm ever hearing of John Hurley's name. And I'm going to say that if this man's skin tone was just a little bit darker, there would be people marching in the streets for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he doesn't fit the bill of the narrative that, police indiscriminately just kill. This man was armed. If we were to take this tweet at face value and say that John Hurley was trying to neutralize a situation, a dire situation in which someone was firing their gun indiscriminately in the shopping mall at a civilian spot, this is John Hurley will never be able to be thanked by the people that he saved that day because the police fucking killed him.
Right. And I mean, and you see a lot of instances where the police get it wrong. Absolutely. And for us to just sit here and say, yes, take all our rights, give it the power only to the rich and the government is the way you fall quickly into tyranny and authoritarian businesses. And it's really funny because you have people in libs basically on the left side where they are saying that police are racist. Police go and kill black people indiscriminately. So why the fuck do we want to give them the full power and authority to do that?
It makes zero sense.
The ones who are weaponized. I mean, at least if they had any fucking bearing, or if they were consistent in any way, they will start pushing for things like, how the stupid like UK have police officers on the street who don't have guns.
Yeah,
they don't have guns either.
Not to mention the fact that even if you take a situation like Uvalde, where, say, for example, well, we can't really run through different scenarios in our head because what happened in Uvalde was obviously terrible, to the point where parents were having to rush into the school to try to save their children. And there are Uvalde police officers who are arresting parents who are trying to get into the school to save their kids. And I don't know what justification there is for Uvalde police to not be held liable, but apparently they're not held liable. Rumble Thought to Reality says remember, the police aren't liable for losses in Uvalde. They aren't responsible for just letting him go on for a few hours. So people must be able to stand up for themselves with guns. There's really nothing else to really be said. I mean, you take guns away from people, and then you have nothing else to stop the government from, say, taking away all your rights. Of course, Jay, you and I are of the belief that women shouldn't be allowed the right to vote or drive.
No, absolutely not.
So obviously, when we think about this, there's a flip side to that coin. So it'd be like, well, do I really want the government to take our guns away? Women might not be allowed to vote anymore, so that might be a good thing. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
that could help. But
sweeten the deal.
It is. Sweet Designs on Rumble. They going back to the John Hurley story. They actually made a huge deal of that case here in Colorado when it happened as proof of why good guys with guns don't work. because you get shot by the fucking police. Holy shit, that is fucking disgusting that the media would try to twist it in that way to say that they don't work because you're going to get shot by the police instead of holding the police responsible for the shit that they did. You know, it's absolute fucking horseshit. It really is. It is.
So shifting gears a little bit, because I think we talked a lot about the red flag laws for the last 30 something on minutes. The J6 committee is well underway, and we basically have seen a bunch of libs plus two of the biggest libs in Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger try to make a case that somehow Donald Trump orchestrated this entire riot. And basically, our democracy was under threat that day and nearly lost forever. And that's why Trump should never be allowed to become president again, and also should be arrested and tried for murder. Murder of who, Jay? Well, apparently not Ashley Babbitt, since her name wasn't even mentioned in the hearing.
Nope, they didn't mention her whatsoever on it, and the whole thing was honestly a big huge sham. And they're letting Liz Cheney be the one who is front and center of all of this. Thinking, I don't know what they're thinking on how this is going to legitimize this hearing or something. I think they want her up there to try and prove that this is nonpartisan. That this is actually, a joint effort by both sides and shit, which is absolutely fucking hilarious. Because one, if there's real evidence there that directly implicates Trump on this, you don't need a 5-week shit show in order to fucking prove it. You would just give the evidence to the DOJ and tell them to go in and arrest the guy. But that's not what's going to happen here.
No, that's not what's going to happen. I mean, there was a report saying that the J6 committee had basically enough evidence to charge Donald Trump or indict him. And the entire time I'm thinking to myself, well, if you're going to actually charge him with anything, fucking charge him. Why are you making this drag on for as long as you've made it drag on? We know for a fact, Jay, that not if, but when the Republicans take over the House and Senate, because Democrats have just a razor thin margin, we know that they're going to completely flip the J6 committee on its head, use it as a means of trying to, and rightfully so, investigate the Capitol Police and their role in the January 6th Capitol riot. Why Michael Byrd, the Capitol Police officer who shot and killed Ashley Babbitt, fired his weapon on her, hitting her in the neck when she did not pose a danger to him or basically anyone around. She was literally climbing through a window when she was shot.
Right. And it was friendly fire too, because there was a group of police members right behind her going through as well.
Yeah. So what if he missed? And what if he hit what if he hit another officer? I mean, just think of that. Think of how that will go down. It's one of those things that make you pause, because I don't think Democrats really understand the beast that they basically just awoken. Because all of the things that they rolled out on in the last year and a half is going to be hit against them. If Republicans have any balls, at least it'll be hit back against them twice as hard. I don't have much expectation that Republicans will do much of anything other than turning over the J6 committee and, turning it into a show trial of their own. Because Republicans are weak as fuck. And apparently, I mean, just look at this gun control bill. Look how all of them are, even fucking Mitch McConnell is backing it.
I know.
I have no faith that they're going to do anything substantive
Absolutely.
either.
I don't think that they are. They don't have the balls to actually fucking do anything with what's going to be. I mean, there is going to be a huge wave that's going to happen because and it's mainly
the
due
problem
because
is that Republicans are weak as fuck. They do not have.
It's a problem. They're going to be
given
this a platter. This is going to be given to them on a silver platter to fucking completely destroy November, and they are going to shit the bed like they always do. It always happens.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because if they give too much, and it's the same thing on the left as well. If they give too much to one side or the other, they cannot continue this facade of two-sidism, fighting against each other, needing your money to fight the other side and all this type of bullshit. And that's the reason why it happens the way it does. Because look, Democrats are fully in power, and they've been fully in power for a year, a little bit longer even. And nothing on this legislation on the Green New Deal, taxing billionaires on their unrealized gains. Like none of that stuff has gone through. The only thing that they're doing right now, without real policy change, is destroying the economy, raising inflation, and making sure that normal families are fucking suffering without pushing any real policy in place because they won't do it. They won't.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a moment.
And they're going to lose.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in just a moment because obviously like things are so fucking bad. But I just want to hit on this point real quick here because we did a full stream, which you could catch on our Rumble channel, basically covering the very first night of the January 6th committee hearing. As made a drinking game, obviously we got hammered. We could have rolled it out just slightly better by maybe being a little bit more selective about what words we picked to go to drink to. But ultimately there's been a hearing on Monday, and I also probably one of the funniest aspects of it is the J6 committee YouTube channel. The entire chat is just flooded with people talking about Morbius.
Yes.
It's Morbin time, Jay.
It's Morbin time. But one thing before we go, Josh G makes a good point, is saying, let's recognize that the Republican Party is reorganizing into a middle-class populist party. There is some truth to that. There's a lot of new candidates that look really promising in comparison. But there are still the people who mainly have power within the Republican Party are pieces of shit.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in just a moment. But like we've talked about, this is the big development happening today. So the Select Committee is renewing a request for information from Representative Barry Loudermilk. In a letter to Loudermilk, Chair Benny G. Thompson underscored the need to gather more info about certain individuals who were part of the tour through the Capitol complex on January 5th, 2021. So one of the things that stood out here is that they played some footage of this Loudermilk tour happening in the Capitol on January 5th. And that apparently people were taking photos of areas that seemed kind of strange, that areas that were, as the committee says, not typically of interest to tourists, like stairwells and shit like that. Now, it would be one thing, Jay, to say that
it's stretch.
I mean, it is, for one, it is a stretch, but two, can I just say real quick that not 1 ounce of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if this was covered in the second hearing on Monday, but
I'm not sure. I didn't watch it either.
It's gonna be tough because nobody's watching. But even Joe Biden's not watching. As Karine Jean-Pierre has admitted.
Right.
But imagine for a second, like, guess what got completely buried and under all this, like Do you remember what happened on January 6th that actually was considered something that would be like a major threat in Washington, no matter what day of the year it is?
I was born.
Well, yeah, that's obviously the worst of all of them. Considering that actually is your birthday. The fucking pipe bombs.
Right.
They literally had pipe bombs planted, and they had to be basically what was it?
Diffused.
Disarmed. They had to be diffused. Yeah. They had to be diffused and disarmed, and I haven't heard a single minute or second dedicated to this whole thing. Is that not the like between Ashley Babbitt and that not being discussed? And again, correct me if I'm wrong, because I have not seen the second hearing, but I am assuming that based on what we've seen so far, that it probably wasn't mentioned.
I don't think it was. I think that's a good assumption to have. And another thing that I'm pretty sure wasn't mentioned was the guy who was calling for people to rush the Capitol now. Go rush it now. You know that video of that tall white guy in a MAGA hat.
Oh, Ray Epps.
To go. Was he charged with anything?
Not that we know of.
Was he taken in?
Not that I know of.
We know his name. We know what he looks like. We know he's been called. He called for people to rush in and everything. That would be a fucking guy to go and ask questions and take and ask questions over. But we know nothing about him. We know nothing about any of that stuff. But we do know that he hasn't been charged with anything.
So this brings me to my next point, Jay, and that is everyone is a Fed. And so Ray Epps may be a Fed. This group Patriot Front that was arrested in Idaho this past weekend. Apparently a white supremacy group. I'm not doubting that there were probably white supremacists in that group. But I will say that given how we've seen things play out between Dan Whitmer's girlfriend, the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, and how that plot was foiled because basically all of the members of that group, almost all of them but one or two, were FBI informants.
Right.
I have to question the legitimacy of basically anything happening anymore, because it seems like no one orchestrates these types of A, hate groups, and B, big, massive, world-changing events better than feds.
Absolutely right. And even just looking at them and seeing who they are and the way that they look like, like 96% of them are fucking feds. It's just ridiculous that this type of stuff happens over and over again. We eat the bait, and by we I mean the media. They eat the bait. They go over it and everything, and we can't see this for this fucking scam that it is. They do these type of operations all the fucking time in order to capture like 2 or 3 people. Like, it's fucking insane.
So Blake by the King Simp himself says, I work for the government. I am by definition the Fed. Resign these nuts.
And then Carl coming in, L at Blake, a councilman is not a federal employee. Resign.
Oh, there's the King Simp himself right there. Can we remove that banner real quick?
There he is.
Look at that big tongue that he is, and that's Carlos in the Barbie film. I don't know why we went down that route, but Saffron Guitar says Siraj so federated his uncles gave up Bin Laden. Jay is a Fed, says Carl.
This could be true.
I just love that Blake. It's actually kind of funny because I have not seen anyone. Blake really is the king simp here because I've never seen anyone simp even for the feds, and Blake somehow did that.
I know, it's insane. It really is. Dan
welcome
wants pizza.
welcome to the stream. Dan wants pizza.
Welcome, Dan. You gotta rewind this to the beginning because you missed the good stuff.
You missed the great stuff, the best stuff. Barry John Rubin says, when is the next Jan 6 drinking game? I guess
the next time they do it on prime time, basically. I mean, because you and I, we have work in the
we have actually we actually have like full-time jobs and stuff.
I know. I mean, giving you guys quality content like we do here, it's hard to think that we actually have to have full-time jobs too.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's see. It looks like most of these hearings after that primetime one are going to be like during the day. So, I mean, we could try to like capture it, but
we'll try. Well, you know what we can do? We can just rewatch it live and do a live thing.
That's also true too. That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, because I don't think there's going to be anyone who's going to actually watch it live because they're going to be at work as well. But we say, hey, we'll do it. Our live reactions because we've never seen it. You're all live reactions because you've never seen it, and we'll get fucked up.
Frostbite says that's a lie. I've seen people simp hard for the feds. Okay, well, sorry, Frostbite. And
Tom Nicole. Bitch sit Nicole's. Tom bitch sit Nicole's is one of them. He fucking he goes hard, and it's fucking insane. And like he is such an unprincipled. He's such an unprincipled piece of fucking garbage. He wrote an article on The Atlantic saying, leave Joe Biden alone because I like Joe Biden. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. You can like Joe Biden. That's fine. You're okay with paying fucking $6, $7 a gallon for gas. You're okay with paying fucking $240 at the grocery store for 2 boxes of fucking diapers. That's good. That's whatever. Good for you. Whatever. But the majority of people, we're not on board with this type of shit just for you to get clicks and be okay in your liberal fucking circles and shit. Nobody gives a shit about that.
Never thought
the most unprincipled thing you can fucking do is sell yourself out for being part of the media liberal fucking elite bubble.
Here's what I'll say. Because while Blake is King Simp, or he likes to call Simp Czar because he simps for the Russians, he is not willing to simp for Joe Biden, which is basically, I think if Blake were really true to that simp life, he would simp for Joe Biden. He would.
Blake. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he would. Nate BB says, "Why does Siraj look jaundiced?" It's because my light is old and I am obviously traveling right now. So I am giving you the best quality jaundice that the stream could provide. So
Taylor coming in saying, is it Taylor or Tyler? No, Taylor. No, Tyler. No, Taylor. Taylor. Is it Taylor? Taylor for a girl, Tyler for a guy, right? Is that how it works?
I think not really.
Can it be Taylor for both?
Could literally
all right, so
be
Taylor coming in saying blank would simp for Joe Biden if he had a wig on. Tyler, that is a good point.
Blonde wig.
Yes, it would.
Hold on, Jay. Click on that.
Tyler coming in saying, I'm literally your ex. Don't know my name.
Wait, your ex or my ex?
Taylor.
Is that Tyler Lorenz?
No, that's Tyler, my ex.
Ex, what, boyfriend?
Tyler's a woman's name. What are you talking about? The ex-girlfriend. Taylor.
Wait, you have your ex-girlfriend's watch?
Watch.
What does is Tyler not watching?
Tyler,
Do you have them like
what?
I did? Let's just move on, Jay.
I feel like you're feeling a little jealous that Tyler was my ex. Look, don't worry about it. Means nothing to me. You are my real thing. You
true.
are Siraj. You are the real thing.
Don't you ever forget it, Jay. Okay. Now, the nuts and bolts of this entire discussion is that $1 billion is being sent to Ukraine. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it.
No, there's nothing you can do about it. It is fucking disgusting. We already sent them 20 billion, and then we also voted in the fucking G6 to send them another 30 billion, and now we're gonna send them an additional billion, and like I think like $500 million in supplies and shit like that as well. It's fucking absolutely disgusting.
All of this is happening while we have inflation hitting a 40-year high. We have gas prices surge past the national average of $5 a gallon. And we have a Biden administration through White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre try to justify not only just the money being sent, but then also trying to put the onus on. Well, we already know that Joe Biden has put blamed Vladimir Putin for many things, but the price of gas,
everything,
all the prices, even like the tampon shortages, which of course, Jay, affected you and me the most, considering how much our assholes bleed. And then of course, when it comes to this whole thing with gas prices, you have Karine Jean-Pierre hopping up on there saying that energy companies need to do the patriotic thing. Let's watch this clip.
It's so good.
Go ahead.
In the letter from the president to the oil refiners, he said they need to work with the administration to bring about a near-term solution. Is there an or else in there from the president? Is there some way that the administration plans to try to hold these companies accountable? You use the word responsibility in your message.
We see it as a patriotic duty. As we are
all these companies accountable.
There's war happening.
Who the fuck asked that question?
It was caused by Russia, which is why we're seeing these hikes in gas prices.
So we need to hold these gas companies accountable for what's happening.
Can you
Russia? We saw a $2 increase of gas prices. So we know where to put the blame on the war, but oil companies, oil refineries, they have responsibility too. What they have been doing is taking advantage of the war. And as I showed earlier, they have tripled their income. And so this is a problem. But what we're trying to do by putting out the letter, we are saying, hey, we need you to act. It is time to act. We want to have a conversation. We want to come to a solution. There is going to be a conversation later this week, I believe, with the Energy Department. And so that's going to happen. So this is basically a bit of a, hey, we want you to act. It's time to act. We have done our part with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the 1 million a day for the next 6 months. And so we need them to act. So that's where we are. We want to come to solutions, which is why we say we want to have that conversation, and we'll see where it goes from there.
All right.
Yeah.
So
when they tell you we need to drill more and you need to like shut the fuck up and open more drilling and shit, what do you think they're going to do?
So for one, Jay, they don't care about you. But two, Jay, you don't care about ever shutting the fuck up when a clip is being played.
No, I don't, because it needs to be said that this dumb bitch is a fucking dumb bitch.
So Karine Jean-Pierre, who, by the way, was receiving critical acclaim from everyone in the press that she was going to be like this, game changer, and that she was like the perfect follow-up act to Jen Psaki. At White House press secretary, we've come to find that she is just as dumb as Jen Psaki, and she is what's the best word I'm looking for? Is it something along the lines of she don't speak too well?
Yeah, it's something like that.
She's for someone who specializes as like the chief communicator from the White House. She is a terrible communicator.
Yep, she really is, and she's a fucking liar. And yeah, they just harped on her for being black and lesbian. That's it. That's the only reason. She had nothing to show for that type of appreciation. That she had nothing. Absolutely zero backing behind her.
Hold on,
I
resent this comment from Joshin saying she's a diversity hire because we all know that the real diversity hire was Jen Psaki because redheads don't have souls.
Right, and also she was a Russian commie. But
that's true too.
As we go along.
One other thing about this whole thing with Karine Jean-Pierre is that she actually she gets on CNN with Don Lemon, and she says it's not the media's job to question the mental fitness of the president of the United States, given that there were 4 years under Donald Trump in which basically everyone and their mother on the corporate media was questioning the mental fitness of Trump. So I'm pretty sure we could probably find a clip of Karine Jean-Pierre when she was a contributor to MSNBC, questioning the mental fitness of Donald Trump. I'm just too lazy to do it on my own, so obviously,
right.
I'm going to have to rely on one of the Habibis to do it for me. Yeah, you can probably find it in tweets as well.
All her tweets. She has a shitload of tweets that are out there justifying the fucking Russia collusion theory. And actually is trying to state it as truth. She has like hundreds of them in 2016 and onwards, delegitimizing the Trump administration and stuff. And now fucking pearl clutching and shit and whining when you question Joe Biden. It's fucking
one of the things that's
right there.
One of the things that's so bad about this is that not a single thing is being done to address inflation. We saw this tweet. Actually, no, we don't have to play that clip. We already know what was said. Honestly, at this point, that shit's old news. The one thing I really wanted to highlight is the fact that as this is all happening, we have dumb fucks, basically shills for the Democratic Party and Hamas, Mehdi Hassan, going on about how there's no such thing as a recession and there's no recession happening right now because it's all something that you, the people, made up. Let me find this tweet here because this is just one of the things that just angers me beyond belief. And it needs to be stated that, again, they really do not care about you. And it's so evident. So this Mehdi Hassan. He tweets out, I went to pick up food from a local restaurant yesterday. Did you guys survive the pandemic craziness? Which is a stupid fucking question to ask anyways, because you would not be in a restaurant if they didn't actually survive the pandemic craziness. But that's besides the point. The owner then goes on to say, yeah, we did, but now we have this new craziness, the recession. And then Mehdi tweets out, there is no recession. The U.S. has been breaking records on growth and jobs, but, vibes. He ended up deleting that tweet. And Jay, I just want to say, of anyone who could, there's no low that Mehdi Hassan can go to.
Right.
That he
or won't go to himself.
Hit. But to be this deluded and think to yourself that everything is all hunky-dory and that, look, Jay, everybody is feeling it. Everyone. It's like the fact that Mehdi over here is somehow not feeling it proves how out of fucking touch he is. And as Frostbite says, LOL, get fucked, pores. That's basically what he's saying.
That's what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying.
It drives me nuts to think that, these are the people who are supposedly pushing policy, who supposedly have the better, they understand, they have their finger on the pulse. They know what the American people should want. They come in from a position of like higher moral authority that they think they know what's better for you than you. And that's what drives me so fucking nuts. That's why like everything with respect to like climate change, everything with respect to like what's being taught in schools, with respect to like this idea of like diversity and inclusiveness, they somehow all come at it from the position of being a higher moral authority and thinking that they know better what's better for you and your community, your family, your friends than you have no decision in the matter. You have no agency, and therefore that's why they need to have all the power. Fuck these people first and foremost, because I hope everybody understands that given what we've seen just in the last 2 years alone, that they don't deserve a single fucking vote from any of us.
Nope.
And more often than not, they don't deserve a single minute of our attention. The fact that we've given them this much attention also angers me because they don't fucking deserve it.
They don't. They can go fucking kill themselves.
What's this that we're seeing here, Spencer?
Not kill themselves. Go fuck themselves. I apologize.
It's a good meme. You decisions, the
elite. Yep. They're the ones who are going to give it to you. And they honestly believe they know what's best for you. Just because they don't care about paying $6 a gallon for gas or paying fucking, $400 for groceries for 1 week doesn't mean that the average American person is feeling it. But they don't.
Jay,
they don't
literally say this is their response. Their first fucking response to rising gas prices is literally buy a fucking
electric car that you can't get for months.
Response.
You can't get for months. I ordered one. I ordered a Mach-E in February, and they just called me to tell me that it's going to be another 4 months before it goes into production.
So that meme that Spencer put up, that was something that Spencer made in like 30 seconds. So well done, Spencer.
Not bad. Good.
Not bad.
Good job.
That's nice and quick. Kudos on timing. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we get everything? I feel like there's big election news. Spencer, get in here.
Oh yeah, what's up, guys?
There was some primary elections. There were some special elections that happened this past Tuesday. Tell us about them. What'd you find?
So one of the big ones off the bat is the one that happened in the 34th district of Texas. That has been a Democratic stronghold for 150 years. I forgot what's the woman's name. I forget.
Myra Flores.
Yeah. She wins in a hugely Hispanic district, considered a Democratic stronghold for years.
What was it, like a +10 Joe Biden district?
Yeah, I think it was a plus. Yeah,
it was like some ridiculous number like that. I think it might have been even more. Some people were saying it was like +14. I think I remember seeing it at some point. And then I forget who the South Carolina election was, but
Nancy Mace, who voted to impeach Donald Trump in 2021 when she first entered Congress. She won her primary against the Trump-backed candidate. I think the person's name was Katie Arrington or something like that.
Something like that.
It was Tom Rice, who did vote to impeach Trump, lost his primary, and he's a congressman out in South Carolina. But
like Trump had one victory yesterday, from one of his candidates, which was the Nevada gubernatorial primary. Trump had his guy win, but the other guy hasn't conceded yet. So I don't know. It's a mess.
Well, I just want to highlight here that Jay learned yesterday what gubernatorial is. He'd actually thought it was gubernatorial.
I thought it was gubernatorial, not gubernatorial. Like gubernatorial is something like I would say, like holy shit, like it sounds like something I would say trying to say gubernatorial. One of
the fucking saddest moments in political history was Jay learning that it's gubernatorial.
Wait, Jay, what do you think was prior?
Gubernatorial. Gubernatorial.
Jay, you are literally the biggest
but I thought it was gubernatorial. I never like read gubernatorial. I always read it as gubernatorial. When I skimmed through articles and shit. Like that's how I always thought it was. But honestly, I gotta go get ready because I forgot.
What?
I forgot that it's not that I forgot, but I forgot to tell you that it is Pam's birthday today.
And fucking AJ.
I know. Well, it's not that I forgot that I didn't forget it was her birthday. I knew it was her birthday. Like I knew it was her birthday. I forgot to tell you. That's what I forgot. I forgot to tell you earlier on before doing the show that it's her birthday. I didn't forget her birthday. I did not forget.
Okay.
All guys, right, so Jay, don't do this. You guys are going to do this and pretend like I forgot.
You take care of this. Spencer and I will hold down the fort for a little bit longer. We'll take questions and all that good shit. Keep talking. Wish Pam a happy birthday from all of us. And Jay, I hope, I honestly hope that you waxed all down there, both front and back, Brazilian style, of course. Because you're going to be sucking your own dick and eating your own ass after this. Did he mute himself? He definitely muted himself.
No, I muted him. I muted him.
Jay muted himself.
It wasn't me.
It was me.
I know it was you. All right, guys. I love you guys. Habibis. I love you all. I'm gonna go have a good.
We're gonna stick around here
for Palm.
Peace of Jay. Get out of here.
Peace. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Peace there. Okay, so get out of here, Jay. There he goes. Now we're gonna keep the party going just for a little bit longer, just because Jay is before we get to Ask Us Anything, I really want to just focus on this Jamal Bowman tweet, who is one of the recent members who was added to the squad, and his reaction to Mayra Flores being elected. Again, she is a conservative Hispanic Republican in what was considered a heavily Democratic district in Texas. Elon Musk tweets out, I voted for Mayra Flores. First time I ever voted Republican. Massive red wave in 2022. Jamal Bowman responds saying Elon Musk is not a leader. He's just another Republican billionaire who supports white supremacy and authoritarianism because he doesn't want his workers to unionize or to pay his fair share in taxes. The GOP just tried to end democracy and now he's supporting them. Which obviously, Spencer, you realize Mayra Flores she's not. Look, I get that there are white Hispanics. You got to stop calling people of color basically like person of color faced for white supremacy. This is basically what he's saying.
What's funny about this whole thing also is that Mayra Flores is actually the first Mexican-born congresswoman in the U.S. in Congress, and she's a Republican. Like, you have how many years of Hispanic, not reliance, but a huge coalition of Hispanic voters going Democrat, and you never got one elected from Mexico. Like, that's just it's incredible. But I'm just waiting for the day that people stop looking at each other as race. Like, it's just a way to divide ourselves more so than what already exists. Like, it's insane to me of how much we put an emphasis on race.
Oh, no, well, I mean, like, no one puts more emphasis on race than Democrats because they literally live and die by it. And as you can tell here by this Jamal Bowman tweet, rather than actually coming up with any valid criticism of Elon Musk, which I would say, if anything, it would be like he doesn't want his workers to unionize. That might be like the only thing I can glean from it. It's just it just reeks of
the other thing. I mean,
disingenuousness.
Also, the other thing that people dunk Elon Musk for is when he restructured people's contracts so that it had stock options instead of whatever it was. And he's like, and they're like not talking about the fact that he gave stock options. So he dunked on someone saying, I gave them stock options, they took it, and their pay increased by like 20%.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think Pastor Rapture on Rumble says dude pays like $500 million in taxes, and he has proven it over and over. Just insane to keep using the same accusations. And also goes on to say unions are a fucking joke. I mean, and today's standards of unions are definitely a joke. If you look at how unions basically operate right now, they're basically mafias, legalized mafias. And they operate sort of with that gang mentality that if you're not part of the union, you're against the union, and they'll fucking destroy you if they need to. But let's get to our Ask Us Anything, Spencer. So to all the Habibis in the chat, go ahead, ask us your questions. Obviously, super chats get priority. That includes Rumble rants, whatever the case may be. Huh?
One thing on that last part of that tweet is that he says like he didn't pay any taxes or whatever. He paid 11 billion. Yeah, he paid 11 billion in taxes last year. Tesla paid 0. He paid 11 billion.
Fucking insane.
Like,
agreed.
Frostbite, very much agree.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, Spencer. I'm gonna boot you.
I've been holding this since the beginning, waiting to use that.
Frostbite says, apologies, Siraj, but Boston sports fans are insufferable. I mean, it is a fact. And I cannot, in good conscience, cheer on the Celtics to win. Frostbite, banned. Just banned. Christian Schmidt says, will you guys do a Roe v. Wade live stream if the decision comes out tomorrow? Jeez, if a decision comes out and there's a lot of news to be made, then maybe. I can't imagine that day will not be absolutely insane. And given how crazy things have been in the last week, and the fact that they buried the Kavanaugh assassin, even though Kavanaugh was not assassinated, the attempted Kavanaugh assassination, I could see someone actually try to do it again, because, but we'll see. Kristen Schmidt says, what? Oh, yeah, he already asked that. Tug Pepper says, HabibiCon happening? Of course, happening in September. If you sign up for our locals community, which I assume you probably already have, more and more details will come out. And you'll definitely get a heads up on that. It's going to be the weekend of September 9th to the 11th in Tampa, Sarasota area, where I'm based. Of course, we had to pick 9/11 because that's just on brand for us. And I see everyone's pointing out your background, Spencer. Cold Beer says, why is Spencer living in a Ukrainian basement?
Fun fact, my grandparents were not Ukrainian. They were no, they were both American. But my grandma was from like Eastern Europe back in whenever.
Master Thief says, how's life in the 1980s, Spencer?
I don't know. Is gas still cheap, or are we in today's economy? I mean, I'll take 86. Good year for the Mets, so I'll take that.
Shut up, Spencer. I don't want to ever hear you talk about the 86 Mets. Dan Wants Pizza says, enjoying your trip to 70s Pakistan, Spencer?
I don't know. Siraj, what was 70s Pakistan like? You're old.
I mean, it's not off. Not very off at all. Flapper Elder Bartleby says, what do you think about the report that Stelter is down to weeks, if not days, left at CNN? I could see it happen. I could see it being a legit report. When it came to this sort of revamping at CNN under the new president, Chris Light, you can actually see the changes being made. And even if not everything is implemented, you can even just see the shift in how even people like Brian Stelter and Oliver Darcy are talking about the media. I don't know if it's because they're trying to save their own jobs, which Spencer, it looks like they are. But I also think that there's a part of them that they're doing it specifically to impress Chris Light, so that if they lose their shows, like if Brian Stelter loses his show, he can at least remain on in some capacity, because that CNN money is Whew. That's
I mean-
a big time paycheck.
The one thing I will say though about that is that he was very close with the last guys. I forget who.
Yeah,
who,
Jeff Zucker.
Jeff Zucker, yeah. So like I could see them being like the same thing of what a sports team does when they fire the head coach, hire the assistant coach, and then fire the rest of the assistant coaches, where it's like you're too close to him, so you got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So I think it could be something like that.
Molo Bolo Esquire says Spencer's a good co-host, but it's not proper Power Hour without Assman been like, and how do I apply for a refund after watching this? Did you just tune in?
Yeah. What?
All right, Spencer, you're booted. Get the fuck out of here. And now my camera froze. It looks like my camera froze. It looks like everything froze.
You gotta zoom in on this.
Everything froze. It's just gonna remain like that forever and ever and ever. That's funny. So Molo Bola Esquire says they just tuned in. If you had watched literally like the first hour and 25 minutes of the show, it's literally me and Jay. Spencer didn't jump in until like 5 seconds ago.
Literally. Honestly,
all right, let's see if I can get
Frostbite.
this going.
Very true. Frostbite says it's been a while since we had Siraj video issues. Very true.
It's been a while.
New camera.
It's what's happening. It happens when I'm traveling. Blake says, "Is Siraj, is Ernie nearby, or are you traveling?" Ernie is nearby, but I'm tired and traveling, so I'll get him later. What were you gonna show me?
Dan Whitmer wants me to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He wanted me to acknowledge this point, so here you go. Shout out Whitmer. Enjoy.
What is it? Drag queens make everything better. Drag queens are fun. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says at a civil rights conference in Lansing while speaking out against what she describes as efforts to divide people. A drag queen for every school. By all means, and Jay and I were highlighting this on last night's list stream, was that specifically if parents and Democrats want to fight for drag queens in every school, by all means, go the fuck ahead, because it'll end exactly like it did in 2021, where Glenn Youngkin and Republicans took the governorship, the lieutenant governorship, and the attorney general position in Virginia. So please run on that. If you, in fact, die on that hill. Frostbite says drag queens are for kids too is a weird hill to die on. It is very much so.
Is it like I don't know, but is it like a fact on parents these days of like how people are portraying to kids? Like, is it more of a like how parents are acting now versus how parents were acting, 10 years ago? Is this more of
I don't even know, but like it's just
thing?
such a weird. It is such a weird hill to die on because, again, drag queens don't add any educational value to your kid's life. There is nothing that you are going to see at a drag queen or drag show that will make you a better, smarter student.
I guess the argument could be like we're more accepting.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know anymore. This stuff just doesn't make sense to me.
Accepting is one thing, but like again, is it age appropriate? And the answer is obviously no. Janice, work with me. Armed drag queens. All I have to say, Janice, is based. Cold Beer says, if Siraj red flags Jay, would it be a Fed BB Power Hour?
Yes.
Inshallah. Justin says, Ern is definitely well fed. That is. He is well fed.
I wish Jay was here.
Taylor says, Tyler says, drag queens don't add any educational value, so you and Jay dress in drag for your own pleasure. Obviously. I mean, Taylor, this is why people tune in. It's not to you do learn something when we're in drag, and that is to turn off the stream and never watch us again.
Well, I don't know if that's true. I mean, Josh says, "Is that a piece in your pocket?"
Shut
or
the
you
simp.
have to DJ? So I mean,
It's true. So, anyways, Habibis, unless you have any other questions, we will be back next week. I will. I think Blake asked something earlier in the chat about me shitting my pants.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you missed the show. You came late, loser.
So I will be shitting my pants extra hard tomorrow to ensure that the Celtics win, because anytime I shit my pants, the Celtics win. So they win a playoff game. So RIP and peace my underwear. If I was wearing underwear, which I'm not, or pants. So Habibis. Oh, well, hold on. Oh, Spencer. Yes.
I do want to mention this. I totally forgot about it, and then I was liking comments about it.
Yep.
Yeah. So my college is renaming our moniker. We are the George Washington Colonials, and people got tight because libs. So yeah. So I don't know what they're changing it to. Hopefully, it's not something stupid like the commies and Carl.
I prefer the George Washington slave owners. That's or the George Washington monkeypox. I feel like that's a nice little.
Well, sir, that it's getting renamed. It's getting renamed.
And monkeypox is getting renamed.
Yeah.
The WHO is renaming monkeypox because of racism, if you could believe it. Because according to the WHO, monkeys are being discriminated against.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
The George. Yes. Shivan says the George Washington Fauci's. Alhamdulillah.
That.
The GW activist says.
Someone's gonna throw that name around, and it's gonna get enough traction as a joke that people might actually take it serious. Because the school is.
I'm just hoping that they actually legitimately take the GW butt lickers. I'd become a fan immediately.
Well, what's crazy about this whole story also is that there were people who were actively trying to get the school to change the name, and it's probably the same people who were like writing the Washington Post, like, we need to change George Washington's name from everything, even though it's Washington Post.
Right, so, and change the name of the city.
Yeah.
From Washington to like District of Columbia, but then Columbia is named after Christopher Columbus, so they're gonna have to change it to just District of. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Daniel G says, "Rip Fauci and his COVID." Yes, Anthony Fauci got COVID, and man, how fucking wild would it be if he got what if Fauci, knock on wood. Because I obviously don't I don't wish illness on people or wish death on anyone. So I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to say it would be fucking wild if Fauci and COVID did not go very well. If you were on the verge of death, if there were reports that how sometimes there would be reports coming out being Fauci not doing well with COVID. People, even just like that, people will lose their shit.
I mean, you'll have all the people who were what was it? I forget what it was, but remember how I think it was with RBG, but don't quote me on it, where it was she was going downhill and everyone saw it, but no one wanted to admit it, and so everyone had kumbaya circles and whatever the hell it was.
Mm-hmm. Prayer circles.
Yeah.
Fauci dies from COVID, which actually, okay, someone could literally take that out of context and be like, Siraj is reporting that Fauci died. No, he didn't die. It's literally leading into this comment. Hypothetical, Fauci dies from COVID, but thank God he's fully vaccinated and boosted. Could have been way worse. He's also taking Paxlovid, which I don't honestly know where that came from. That just came out of the ether.
It's new. It's not even fully FDA approved. It's emergency authorized. So it's existing. But from what I've been told,
let's
about
go
it,
through some of the other. Hold on, a few other suggestions for the GW name change. You have the Washington Swamp Rats, the George Washington Gamer Gators. You have what else? The GW Zoomers. Here, I'll let you just highlight them. I don't give a shit anymore. The GW Deep State, the GW Ukrainians. Oddly enough, doesn't the color scheme work in that regard? Like, don't you have to like change the blue to like slightly royal blue?
Yeah, the blue's kind of more of like a violet blue, like a purple blue, than
Anyways, well, Habibis, unless there is, well, what we got? Wax, Vax, and ready to climax. Dr. Fauci, Bel Camino. I feel like Damien's bat signal just went up. So anyways, Habibis, well, appreciate you tuning in for Habibi Power Hour. I've been Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Spencer Sachs.
Spencer, you're no Jay Kobbe. I'll give you that much. You're fucking fired. Good night, Habibis. Peace it. See you next week.